Hey guys, so obviously I did an inspired by look for the new movie The Lion King. I really love Scar. I have him with me here today, and I had to do it inspired by make of look, which is really fun to do. It took a lot of time, and I'm dying in this because it is warm. But I really want to do a review really quickly of The Lion King. Obviously, Scar is my favorite. Scar is my absolute favorite villain of all time. I don't have contacts, or else I would have done green. But I really wanted to just touch base on the new movie. So, the new movie, in my personal opinion, was really good. It was really good. But there's things about it that, like, I feel like they're two totally different movies. I feel like The Lion King, the original, was definitely more emotional and nostalgic for me on a personal level. I feel as though, Scar's song Be Prepared gave me goosebumps. When Mufasa died, I cried. When, Can You Feel the Love Tonight premiered, like, it was just such a very intense, sweet, even almost like even sexy moment, if you can say that. And I feel like some of those elements kind of lacked in the new film. I did not cry during Mufasa's death, which is rare for me to cry at anything. So for me, I'm like, oh, that was kind of weird. I was really kind of curious to see if they were going to even handle the I Can't Wait to Be King song. They did handle it. They did not do the Tower of Animals. Apparently anteaters were not common in Africa, and so they weren't, and that made up some of the tower, and so they were taken out, and just some little things, just little things. I know that they kept certain creatures that weren't native to the original region in the original film. Like, they were more native to Central and South America. Like, the leafcutter ants are not native to Africa, but they played like this big crucial role in helping Rafiki discover that Simba was still alive. And if anybody has seen this film, if anybody has seen it, tell me, do you guys think that the route that it took Simba's fur to reach Rafiki this time around was more complex than it simply wafting through the wind? I mean, this thing went through being eaten, being picked up by leafcutter ants. It was a long process, and being rolled up by a dung beetle once it was passed through, then carried up by the leafcutter ants and into Rafiki's tree. Out of all the trees in Africa, it ends up that way somehow. And I found that very enjoyable, and almost more like I was watching a documentary at some points. And that was actually pretty enjoyable for me. And so that was pretty cool. I do think with me and my fiance, we discussed it. We said to ourselves, when we were watching like the battle scene between Simba and Scar, for example, it was very difficult to tell who you were looking at some points because they didn't really make the lions that discernible from one another. I mean, I think, and don't quote me, I have to, because I've only seen it the one time, but it feels like Mufasa's mane might have been a bit lighter in color, just a little bit, than Simba's. Simba seemed to have a smaller mane still overall, and I think that's just still symbolizing him as a young lion, and that's it. So I think there was very few things. Like, I really kind of wish they kept Scar's black mane. Like, look at this guy. He's a beautiful lion. They should have kept him. He had a great design, and if lime green eyes and just pointy features and a black mane doesn't scream I'm the villain of the film, I don't know what does. But I thought that was interesting. Shenzi I think they were going somewhere with Shenzi, and I liked what they were doing with her. She seemed to feel like she had a bit of a bigger role in the film, and I feel like this time around, I feel like they could have touched more on her. It really felt like, for some weird reason, that her and Nala had this big beef going on, and I want to know more about that. Like, what happened? Like, it could have just been the elephant graveyard scene, or them wandering into the hyena's territory. I feel like there was more to it than that, and it was a lot. It was a lot happening, and I feel like there's a lot they didn't touch on. I will openly say I would go and see a Lion King 2. I would definitely go see a Lion King 2. It was a really cool film. I'm surprised that they handled the live action so well. They handled it very delicately. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some things that just didn't work realistically for the film. No, I was thinking this is crooked. But some of the things that didn't work for the film, like the Rafiki's breaking his fruit open, that fruit that they'd showed, that they'd mentioned, I forget the name of it, but on the inside, that particular fruit is a real fruit, and on the inside, it's actually very dry on the inside, and it's not super juicy, and so it just wouldn't have burst and spurted open in that dramatic, beautiful fashion that it did in the original. And they did opt for the tree root. And I'm like, look, you kept leafcutter ants that aren't even native to the region in. We could have kept the fruit. Because that was iconic. That was iconic. I remember as a kid we had to rewind the film a lot for my brothers and just rewatch it a lot. And it was one of those things where it was one of those very fond memories because my brother's no longer with us, and it was a wonderful thing, to experience that again. The circle of life scene was always really cool. I do wish they kept Scar's song. The Be Prepared was just really cool. I know it wouldn't have fit with the film now. They're going more realistic, and the hyenas marching, I guess, probably wouldn't have worked. But it was just iconic. That was really cool. Although with the whole punch a Nazi thing lately going on, you guys have probably been on Facebook and you know what I'm talking about. And I guess all of that is kind of it is kind of political and intense. So I mean, maybe they didn't want to bring stuff like that in, or they thought maybe we shouldn't be referencing anything that could be a potential trigger to somebody, or anybody watching this film, for good or for bad. We don't want to trigger anyone. We just want everyone to come in. Let's not bring human affairs really into this sort of thing. And I think that's kind of where they were going with it. Not so much for realism, but I feel like certain parts of the original film definitely mimicked human history a lot more and still do. So I feel like they probably were trying to avoid that, which was probably very, very smart. Actually, it was very, very smart because you can often very easily offend somebody in media, and maybe taking that out was a good thing. But growing up, I mean, I love villains, I love baddies, I love the bad guys. That was an intense scene. It was historical. It was almost historical. It was just this amazing song. It was an awesome song. Great colors, and Scar was this big, larger than life character. It was cool. I will say one of the things I didn't like was Beyonce. I just don't feel like she fit the role of Nala. I don't think that the voice fit. I feel like when I listen to the original version of Nala, she sounds sweet and elegant and strong, but I almost feel I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I feel like she sounds a bit urban, a little too urban, almost, it just doesn't fit. She doesn't sound regal to me in this one. And I am not a big Beyonce fan, and I decided to go to the film regardless, knowing that this was probably going to be, obviously a thing, and just give it a chance and, not judge it just solely based on that, because I will openly say I would go see it again. I would love to go see it again. It was a beautiful film, really fun, unique, and definitely interesting. That was a risk. Disney took a risk by doing a fully CGI version of Lion King, and they took that risk and they ran with it. I will say some of my favorite points of the movie were probably, honestly, the leafcutter ants were super cool. That was a really cool scene. The Candy-Filled Love Tonight was still very sweet. I think it was just the intensity of it was toned down. That come hither look still wasn't there. I would have loved to see them do a little bit more with differentiating the lions, because let's be honest, guys. How many of you guys could tell Nala and Sarabi apart? I couldn't. If if it's far away, they're standing a little further away. Maybe not. I feel like certain features should have been left. Not so much to mimic the film, the original, but just to differentiate the characters. Like, I feel like Scar's iconic green eyes should have been left alone. Nala had a different eye color as well in the first film, kind of like a softer green. And those are very, very different colors, even though they're in the same color family. But they help differentiate them. And the black mane on Scar, I think, would have been a great thing. Because, I mean, we've all seen The Lion Guard. We've seen Lion King 1.5, Lion King 2. We know Kovu's a thing. We don't really know if Kovu's Scar's son, but they both share that darker brown fur and that black mane. And so clearly it's a thing in The Lion King. And I don't think that, keeping that would have been too much to ask for. I am very pleased overall with the film, though. The film was interesting, it was fun, and it was a fresh take. And my children both really enjoyed it. I know my son's a little sensitive to noise, so he's a little bit more sensitive to the roaring of the lions. But aside from that, I think we all really enjoyed it. I think some of my favorite characters might have been Timon and Pumbaa. They were super cute. They were really, really cute. And I think that's pretty much it. That's all I can really say for it. I will say, if it came down to both films, I would still say that the original is my favorite, but I also have a soft spot for it due to nostalgia, due to fond memories attached to that film. But I have a fond memory of this one as well, as reliving the story told in the new, fresher perspective, new, fresher way, and with my own children, with my own family, and it gave me a whole new reason to Disney bound. It gave me a reason to Disney bound today. I couldn't find a brown shirt, so I ended up with a black one, and I can't wait to go and change because I am sweating. I hope you guys are all having a magical day.